Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range. Hey friends, it's Shan here. This week I speak with Tyler Farnham. Tyler is a parachuter. He's a surf coach. He's also an author of books. He's a budding stand-up comedian. He's a former lifeguard, and he's now a Florida expat. And he lives in Bali. Tyler is very interesting. He's the survivor of a parachuting accident in which his parachute failed to open, like everyone's worst nightmare. And he spiraled so fast that the force of the spin that he was in rendered him unconscious, so he was unable to deploy his emergency chute. It's an amazing story that is just the catalyst for a massive change that he then made for the rest of his life. The circumstances of that accident occurred in front of his mother, and he had a helmet that actually saved him from dying. He explains it in detail. There is a graphic nature to this conversation, so please listen with caution. But he then goes on to discuss, his subsequent addiction to pain medication, and then the changes that have occurred in his life since the accident. He's also a surrogate father. We get stuck into what it's like to be a surrogate parent, and that journey as well. Not to mention his travels around the world. So, again, a beautiful human, sincere and kind. And big thanks to our mutual friend Jubair for connecting us. And please enjoy my conversation with Mr. Tyler Farnham. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks.
Yeah, good to be here, man. Whoa.
Submissive dominant lifestyle.
3, 2, 1. If you don't mind talking about it, Jubair mentioned a really crazy experience you had parachuting. Would you mind giving us the backstory to that experience? I know it might seem like a heavy thing to start on, but I'd like to just get stuck straight into it because I'm so curious.
For sure, man. What I'll do is, because I'll give you a full rundown.
Okay.
And I'll kind of keep it somewhat brief because it's a pretty gnarly story with twists and turns. And then if you have any questions on something specific, we'll jump into that. But basically, in 2009, in April, I had a planned skydive to go with my mom. And at that point, I'd been skydiving for 7 years. And the skydive was going to be all my the rest of the ones I'd already done. I jumped out of a plane, I think, 170 times. And with my mom, which isn't a big number, bro. Usually people in the sport for 7 years, they've got thousands of jumps. I had 170. I wasn't a rookie. I was Point Break style, bro. I'd go and I'd do a skydive once every month or, a couple a month just to stay fresh and just to get a kick. Because in Cocoa Beach, the waves aren't that great.
Yeah.
So I needed something else for an adrenaline shot. So that was kind of my thing for years. Finally, one day my mom decides, I can't say finally because I never expected my mom to ever want to even come and watch me do it. But she saw a movie and she got inspired to go and do a skydive. And she's like, hey, Ty, I want to go jump with my friend. And I'm shocked. So we picked a date. It was Easter Sunday, April 11th, 2009. And yeah, man, I did one jump before my mom. And then when I went up to go do the second jump, my mom was with a buddy of mine, Dave, and she was doing her tandem skydive. And we had a camera in the plane. My jump was filmed as far as exiting the plane. And then my mom and her friend went and did their jump. And during my jump, I deployed my canopy around 3,500 feet, and my plan was I wanted to get down to the ground as quick as I could, get a camera from the hangar, and take photos of my mom coming in, because with skydiving, I always say it's not necessarily about the free fall or the canopy ride. Oftentimes, it's about how you feel as soon as your feet touch the ground.
Gotcha.
It's when everything just sets in, the endorphins, you're alive, all this, everything. So, of course, my plan, I want to get down as quick as I could, get the camera shots of my mom, deploy my canopy 3,500 feet, and instantly I know something's wrong. I start spinning. And I broke two big rules. You're supposed to stay altitude aware. And altitude awareness is key. So check your altimeter, which is like a wristwatch. It tells you how high you are to the earth. And I wasn't doing that. I went straight into trying to fix the problem, which, okay, that's fine. You try 2 attempts to fix any sort of a problem when you're skydiving, any sort of malfunction, try 2 times. If you can't correct it in 2 attempts, you cut away and you use your reserve parachute. That's why it's there. I broke that rule too. I kept trying to fix this problem.
Why?
Because at first I thought to myself that it was a problem that I could fix. And what it was a brake fire. So one of my steering cables came undone. So unstowed, I should say. And it was out of reach. And I was trying to pull down on my rear risers, which are the lines that connect the parachute to the harness. And now by doing that, by pulling down on the rear risers, I was actually able to fly straight.
Wow.
So I thought to myself, if I just hold on to my rear risers, I can just fly straight, come in, prepare for a low, a hard landing. And so I'm pulling down with all my strength, everything I had. And then eventually I lost my strength and I had to let go. And as soon as I let go, I started spinning again. And once I go back into that spin, that is when I checked my altimeter to see how high I was. And at that point, I was like roughly 800 feet. And you want to be, under a square, stable, steerable canopy, no lower than, I want to say 1,000 or 1,500 feet, 2,000 feet. I can't remember the numbers now, bro. It's been so long. But yeah, I was not under a square, steerable parachute, and I was extremely low, and I was spinning violently. So I started thinking to myself, should I cut away? And honestly, man, I thought about my mom, and I was right away, fuck, dude, she's mid-free fall right now. I don't want her to see that I had to use a reserve parachute to land. That's going to freak her out. That one thought, bro, cost me probably, 100 feet. So any sort of thought that I had cost me time, valuable time. So by the time I maybe I still think to myself every now and then when I'm having conversations like this, I'm like, well, maybe if I would have cut away my parachute, I would have had time. But I don't think so, man. I think if I would have cut away, I was too low and I would have hit the ground under, a canopy that was halfway deployed. So I didn't cut away. I kept spinning and I just thought to myself, this is it. I think I'm going to die. And that was it.
Potentially in front of your mother.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
And?
So I hit the ground, and when I hit the ground, I landed on my right side, and I bounced onto my left side. A friend of mine, Rob Stevenson, who is one of the main instructors at Skydive Sebastian, where this happened in Florida, he rushed out by my side. He had, I want to say 20 or 25 years of experience in the sport. He was the first one to me, and he just radioed to manifest we need to get an air ambulance to this guy or he's going to die. Moments later, my mom lands. And when my mom lands, she rushes over to my side. I mean, to make it even more dramatic, my mom was a nurse at an Alzheimer's Foundation. And she had friends that were there with her that day, all nurses. Yeah. And my mom said when she was coming in for her landing, her final approach to come in to land, her friends were on the field. And my mom was waving at them. And she said they didn't wave back. And at that point, there were people that were running out to me on the field. So there was drama. And my mom said right when her friends were not waving back, she could hear sirens. And as soon as her feet touched the ground, my friend Dave had to get her out of the harness. And my mom was like, yeah, my legs were just numb, from the ride down. And she's like, I knew it was you. Rushed over to my side, kneeled down by me. And I had a full face helmet on, bro, but it looked like I got hit by a semi-truck. Both legs were pointing different directions. My arm was underneath my body. My whole face bleeding, eyes, nose, ears, mouth. And she just held...
Even with a full-face helmet on?
Even with a full-face helmet on. And she kneeled down, she held my hand, and she's like, Ty, you've been hurt. You've been hurt badly. You're going to be put on a helicopter and taken to Holmes Regional Medical Center. She just kept talking to me. And, I was acknowledging her a little bit, but, I had, I knocked out... And I'll get to the injuries, but, I was a mess, man. I wasn't really...
Still conscious?
I was conscious, but it was more gasping for air. And, when they put me on the stretcher to put me in the helicopter, apparently I raised up an arm to, acknowledge my mom. And then even when I was at the hospital, I was able to tell the nurses my dad's cell phone number. We always... you know, as bro, old school people, we remember phone numbers, you know what I mean? So it's like I knew my dad's number and I recited it and I told them where I had pain. But I mean, yeah, as far as being on the field and have my mom approach me, that was one of the most dramatic things. But
oh my God.
Yeah, and I mean, I landed on the grass field, you know, which was about 3 feet from the paved runway.
And I mean, just a little caveat to my next few questions. If it's too confronting to keep reliving this, please don't.
No, it's fine.
No, and so you were spiraling as you were hitting the ground.
Yeah.
So in those last moments before impact, like, were you like thinking about how you were going to hit the ground? Like, should I put my legs out? Should I land sideways? Or, you know, and with those sort of thoughts going, like, were you, that self-protection mechanism that we have in us, were they working?
I'd say that's what saved my life, was that after I realized that, again, my last thought before I can't remember anything was, I think I'm going to die. And I think what happened is from fright and from centrifugal force, I lost consciousness. So it's like you hear when drunk drivers hit a tree, bro, and they're passed out, and that's how they survive. And yeah, bro, since I landed on my right side and I was limp, even all my brakes, everything that broke was centered. Everything, and it was just because I was like a limp. And a friend of mine, this girl Erin, was watching from the they call it the zoo bar, and it's where all the skydivers go and have food and drinks and everything.
Yeah.
And she was watching me coming in, and I had a few people see me, like they saw me like coming in for my landing, and she thought I was coming in for like a high performance technical landing.
Yeah.
That was out of my league. I wouldn't be coming in for that kind of a landing. But she was like watching, like, oh yeah, that's pretty intense. And then eventually she's like, oh no, she could see I was just like, my whole body was just like motionless. So yeah, when I hit, I was just no motion at all. It was just that last thought is like, I think I'm going to die. And that was it.
How's that changed your perspective on life since?
Oh, bro. I wrote 2 books and I've been out of the U.S. for 10 years. I was going to be a firefighter in my hometown in Cocoa Beach, Florida. I was a full-time lifeguard captain at the time when the accident happened.
At the beach?
Yeah. And
Cocoa Beach?
Yep, Cocoa Beach. And I was just planning on doing that eventually until going through fire school, and I probably would have become a fireman or a fire medic. But yeah, how it changed my perspective is, bro, I left that job. I went out to Australia to lifeguard in Western Australia, and boom, I've been back to the States, I think 4 times in 10 years. So
prior to that, you had no desire to travel?
I mean, I traveled. I went to Costa when I was a kid, Costa Rica a bunch of times. I was like 15, and I did love traveling, but it wasn't like I don't think I had like a huge travel bug. You know, it was more just like I loved skydiving, I loved surfing, but I mean, had a girlfriend, I was dating this girl, Lindsay, who was a Billabong model at the time. So I kind of had a pretty cool lifestyle at the time when I was 25. Oh, and when I did the jump, this is just more drama, but I did the jump on April 11th, and I woke up from the medical-induced coma on my 26th birthday, on April 16th. So I woke up on my birthday, man. Yeah, which makes it even more like, just like, really?
New beginning?
Weird, man.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a bunch of questions that are sort of off the path that I was planning on going to, but you know what they say about plans. Listen, man, so going back to pre-accident mindset, you were very much in that, for lack of a better term, traditional programming, steady job, house, marriage, 2.5 kids, nice cars, that kind of vibe. Is that something you still desire?
No. I mean, I wasn't. I guess maybe I was somewhat in that mindset because I was also, you know, lived my whole life in the U.S. and, you know, to make things even more, not bizarre, but different is I'm not in that mindset, but I'm a surrogate father to 2 kids. One little girl who's 5 and a little boy who's going to be born this Christmas. So I'm a surrogate father to 2 of my very, very good friends over in Australia, Auntie and Leah. So as far as me having my own family, I don't know. I mean, I have a great family over in Australia with 2 wonderful mothers and a beautiful little baby girl and a little boy that's going to be amongst us soon. So I feel like I've completed that of being able to have an amazing family, because I don't live that traditional lifestyle anymore, and I've sacrificed a lot when it comes to my own family and leaving my home turf and doing the Bali hustle and the struggle, and you know I'm 39, so I'm like, so I don't know, man. I don't know if things change, maybe I'll have that family, but in some ways I already do have that family, you know.
I mean, is your connection strong to those children?
It's at this point I'd say it's quite strong. I mean, I was out there to visit them in April in Byron Bay, and the moms are tremendously busy. They've got a great business, but we're also like family. And, you know, birthdays, Christmas, we talk. My mom talks to their moms, and like it's a question I'm always asked, like, well, how's your relationship? I'm like, the relationship's great. And it's just how we all wanted it. They wanted to have children, and I still think they're a couple of the most amazing human beings I've ever met. They inspire me in many ways, and I was able to give them something that not many people could give them, you know?
Do you think your daughter understands the biological connection or actually acknowledges it?
For sure. Even
understands it?
Yeah. When I first met her, like when they brought her out to visit me, and it was actually in Lombok and Sangigi, when I first got to meet her, she was like, she wasn't even, I think she was close to 1, maybe 8, 9 months, whatever it was. And like, I've got this photograph of when we're looking at each other, and it was like, we're looking at each other like, I think I know something's going on here. And like, just both of us had this similar look. And then when I was just there, you know, to see her, that was amazing. It was unbelievable, because I'm just sitting there looking at her just like, wow, like this is wild. Like, because she looks a lot like me and she acts like me, and the way she'll just kind of glance at me is just like so it's so cool. I couldn't have,
so cool.
Yeah, I couldn't have like had it work out any better as far as like the connection and the relationship, and as far as them being in Australia and me being here, we're close enough to where if we can go and see each other, we will, you know. And
there's no feeling of separation?
Not really, but I mean, I think a lot of it is just the comfort of knowing that they're just two wonderful parents, and that they're raising a little girl that I just think is a blessing in so many ways, because, I mean, hell, I shouldn't be here, you know? So the fact that I am, and I was able to help these two women do something they could not have done without a surrogate, and how we got to meet, and just how it all kind of unfolded was just, I just feel like it was meant to be, and she was this little girl that's meant to be here. And so it's, but, you know, it's also such a unique thing to go through. It's that there's no playbook, there's no like rules or real understanding. So it's even now, like talking to you about it, it's like, how do I feel about that? You know what I mean? Because as time goes on, it's like
changes.
It changes, you know. But I'm just happy. I'm happy about it, and I know that in the future, my mom will go over there and she'll get to meet the girls and get to meet the whole family, and that to me is one of the biggest things, is having my mom go over there as well.
So, like, I think it's quite an honor to be asked.
To
be the surrogate.
Yes, I was in tears, man. Wow. When they asked me, I was just like, whoa, like I felt honored, you know.
I'm just contemplating it. If I was asked, I think I'd be honored, but I think my biggest concern was I would personally struggle with not being a primary carer and having more say in the upbringing.
Yeah.
Is that something that comes up for you?
No, and I think a reason why is, one big reason is because I don't have any children of my own. And, you know, I think if I would have already had children, it might have been different, you know, because I do know one giant thing I'm missing out on is the upbringing and, like, you know, how she's raised. But all of that was kind of in communication when they wanted me to do it and asked me. But then to go and see her in Byron and see her going to this amazing school, that I was just like, wow, this is so cool.
What a gift.
It was rad, man. So like,
it's a rad gift, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And I mean,
both ways.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, just to go out there and to see that the life that they've provided for the little Opie was just like, wow, man, like I couldn't have written this any better for how it's unfolded for them. And so it makes me just so, just comfortable and happy with everything. And, you know, when they reach out, I'm always here. I'm always there, and I'm always there to, I made her for her birthday. I always send her out. I'll make her a kid's book. So like I'll just do little drawings and like a storybook that's just like a homemade personal kids book that I'll make for her. And yeah, I've sent them out. I sent her out I think 4 of those, and yeah, man, it's rad.
It's so rad. Is art part of your story?
Art actually helped me get off the pain meds I was on after the accident. So art's a big part of it, and that's also why Jay and I are good buddies as well. Like, I feel like a pretty strong connection with artists because art really saved me in a lot of ways, like from pain medication. Kind of that
was it like oxy?
Yeah. So they put me on the full freaking thing, man. In South Florida too, like it's the kind of the hub of where it all was going on in 2009. It was pretty gnarly, man. So they put me on a lot, and so
which sounds like it might have been necessary in the immediate.
It was
time.
It was for sure, and like even the doctor told me because, bro, like the injuries, just to like. Can
we go through them?
Yeah, man. Like so, my right femur. I blew my right femur out of my leg, so it was a compound fracture.
Oh, Jesus.
So I lost about 4 to 6 inches of bone. So they almost had to amputate my right femur or my right leg.
I'm having trouble. Yeah, keep going.
And then my left femur broke in half, just like a clean break right down the middle. My right ulna, the lower arm, broke in half. The right humerus, upper arm, broke in half. My mandible broke down the middle. I shattered, so the condyles, or the hinges of your jaw, I shattered the right condyle, and I dislocated the left.
Because that got hit, and it transfers up. Yeah,
and
that happened to my brother.
Okay. And then I broke 9 teeth that had to be extracted, and I fractured my skull.
With a full-face helmet on?
Full-face helmet on, man. Yeah, so the full-face helmet...
Saved your life.
Saved my life. Holy fuck. So when people talk about helmets, and it's like, dude, like... And there's even like a joke. I think it was Seinfeld that made a joke. I love Seinfeld, bro. It's one of my favorite shows. And like he made a joke doing stand-up about skydivers. Why do they even wear helmets? And I'm just laughing going, you don't even know, man.
Like I'm living proof.
And I still have that helmet too. Like it's still got dry blood on it.
No.
Yeah, man. I have that.
Cracked? Or was it like just the sheer impact within the helmet? The impact like bouncing around inside the helmet?
Well, they look almost like a luge. If you've seen that, like luging, like they're real aerodynamic. And so it was real snug to my face. But I still, bro, like I still think to myself, like, how did that thing even, but I landed in the field too. I landed in a grass field and, but still, regardless, no head trauma, even with a fractured skull, still no like head trauma or back injuries. So like, as far as the injuries themselves, again, what we were talking about before is getting put on the meds. And so it was necessary for me. But I was lucky since I wasn't a smoker and I wasn't really a heavy drinker at all. I was able to heal so quick. And I was young. I had youth on my side. I was 25, turning 26. So it's like they put me on the meds, and the meds were a double-edged sword. It was like they gave me the motivation. They gave me the drive to get up and go for a run or in the beginning, get on my bike and ride to the pool and swim. They kind of gave me that endorphin kind of kick from the medication. Excuse me. But then also they allowed me to fight through any sort of pain I had when I was riding my bike because I had still have full metal rods in my legs. Got metal rods in my legs.
So you could rehab. They let you able to rehab.
Yes. So, I mean, I used them in the right way, and in a lot of ways I used them in the right way. But then to get off of them was like, shit, man, here we go. We got to... so art really did help as far as giving me an outlet and something that's healthy and something I can kind of lose myself in and just, because I'm not a great artist. I'm pretty good, but I'm not great. But enough to where like I really have to concentrate when I'm drawing. So got so many drawings, man, that I just look at them like, yep, that was 2010, 2011, and there were drawings that really helped me get on the right path.
What about like the physical detox from those?
It wasn't that bad because even though I was prescribed a lot of them, I didn't take. If I would have been taking as much as they gave me, then I would have been in a lot of trouble because they prescribed me 210 30 milligram oxys a month, and they 150 15 milligram oxys a month, and 90 Xanax every month.
Xanax as well.
every month.
Why was Xanax necessary?
To help me sleep.
Oh, of course. It's a sedative.
And the 15 milligram oxys were for breakthrough pain.
So I thought the oxy would have acted like a sleep aid as well.
Not, for some people, I think they do.
Okay.
For me, I'd take one and I'd be like, oh, bro, I'm going to clean this house. I'm going to fucking, they get me pumped up, man, motivated.
Like tweaking.
Yes, bro. Yes. So then the Xanax were what would drop me down. But I know some people have the reverse effect. Some people take Xanax and they're like, I want to do something, bro. Let's go outside, and then they'll take an oxy and they'll go to sleep. So I think it's just different depending on the person's, how they take to those drugs.
So when you were incapacitated and couldn't move much, art was something, as an outlet.
No, bro. Actually, let me back up because art was when I was actually back in action because it took me 11. So after I woke up from the medical induced coma, I woke up April 16th, 26th birthday. They tell me the injuries. I'm shocked. They're like, we almost had one of the first things the doctor told me was we almost had to amputate your right leg. But we saved it and told me that he'd put the rods in my legs, everything, this, that, the other. And that's when like the whole kind of like, okay, what's going to happen began. That's when like the thoughts of am I ever going to surf again? Am I ever going to do anything active again? And what I started doing was I started journaling with my left hand because I couldn't use my right arm because of the break. So I started journaling in a notebook. I read like think positive, stay positive, and I just write down who came to visit me, what rehab exercises I did for the day, and just anything I could see that was good. Like how many steps did I take today? Because when I was at my worst, they wired my mouth shut, and they told me my mouth would stay wired shut for 2 months. I was either on my just bedridden or I was just in a wheelchair because I was non-weight bearing. So the first rehab center they put me in, I was the youngest person by far. So it was like I was surrounded by a lot of elderly people that were just on death's door. So I'm just sitting there, I couldn't talk, bro. Mouth like this and like. So I was down, man, and like, no, man.
Ate through a straw?
Everything through a straw. And so like that.
How long? How long was that?
2 months.
What, for 2 months?
2 months.
You must have just, like, you wouldn't be able to get enough nutrients through a straw,
Oh, bro,
surely.
so skinny, dude.
Oh.
I mean, I was protein shakes, but when I was out of physical rehab, when I was out of the rehab center, I was still had my mouth wired shut. Dude, I was doing crazy stuff. I was like putting French fries and burgers in a blender. I was like cereal and milk. I didn't
Were
care,
you getting
bro.
the full burger flavor in a smoothie?
Everything, man.
So burger
Everything.
smoothies are a real
Pretty
thing.
good,
They
dude.
work.
The only thing I couldn't do that was smoothie was eggs. That made me sick, bro. But
raw eggs.
Everything else, bro, I did everything.
Dude, haven't you seen the Rocky movies?
Of course.
Rocky, he was drinking raw eggs.
I couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't do it.
Wow. Fuck. Listen, I'm swearing a lot today because I'm just so blown away. But do you remember the morning of the day of the accident? How was your morning when you woke up? Can you tell us about your morning that morning?
That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that before. And I was working that day. So it was Saturday.
As a lifeguard.
Yeah. And I was working at the Coconuts on the beach, which is right off Minuteman Causeway. So, yeah, we had 2 lifeguard towers there. And I was sitting next to I think it was like Tower 10 at Coconuts. Believe it or not, a seagull shit on me. Yeah. It was either on my shoulder or my hat, but a seagull shit on me. And I remember that. and somebody told me in the future, they told me that like that was a sign of good luck.
I've heard that, yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe that was
a sick
maybe
joke,
that's
that
why
one.
maybe that's why I survived because of the seagull. I don't know, bro.
That's a great look at it.
Yeah, bro. But the big thing I remember about that morning was just like all mornings, bro,
God.
waking up and just like, I'd always bring a huge cooler. I'd drive around the little lifeguard buggy, so I'd giant cooler with apples and a Publix sub. I'd just get, stacked bunch of food. Not normal, but I was pumped because I was telling everybody I was working with that I was going skydiving with my mom the next day.
Oh, so it was the next day.
You asked me about the morning.
The morning of the accident.
Yes, morning. Sorry, bro.
That's the day before the accident.
All that rain got my ears.
No, but that was so. What you were describing was the day before the
That was the
accident.
day before.
That's still significant.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Now let's
That's
jump
good. That's good context.
Yeah, morning of, my mom and I went to breakfast at a spot called Lily's in not Sebastian, in oh geez, I can't remember the name of the town.
Sebastian Inlet?
Not Sebastian Inlet. It was before where I used to live there, man. Outside of Cocoa Beach, I'm drawing a blank. Regardless, around Cocoa Beach area, we went to breakfast, had a big breakfast, and after that, went straight to Skydive Sebastian. But we went there like mid-morning. So my morning was waking up, breakfast with my mom, talking to her. I can't remember specifically the conversation. And then boom, Satellite Beach. That's what I'm talking about. That's where it was. I was drawing a
Can you
blank.
see Cape Canaveral from there?
No, you got Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach, and then Patrick Air Force Base, and then Satellite Beach. Hobgoods are from there.
Love the Hobgoods.
Yeah, good surfers.
Yeah, Damien
Yeah.
Hobgood. Legend. Love him.
Yeah, so that's where I was for breakfast, man, before the...
You close with your mum?
So close, dude.
Did you have any idea how your day was going to end up?
No, of
Isn't
course
that crazy?
not. That's wild, man.
You know, that's what I want to know. That's what I want to ask, because like I just think we wake up every day, so we just get one day at a time. Like
Yeah.
you never know how your day's going to be now, ever. So it's just a real trip, you know. So then the next day, after the accident, vastly different morning.
Big time, bro.
Like, if you don't mind me delving into the mental state you found yourself in, like once the dust had settled, you realise you're going to survive.
Yeah.
You're in hospital. You've had your operations.
Yeah.
Then you're faced with an arduous recovery regime. Like, you know, where'd your head go over the weeks and the months?
In the hospital, I was so worried that I wouldn't be able to surf again. I had one of my best buddies brought in a poster of Corey Lopez, who's one of my favorite surfers growing up.
I love that guy.
Love him, man. And like he put that poster up in my rehab room, and then I had all like I was lifeguarding, but I was also a waiter at the Cocoa Beach Pier. So I had 2 jobs, and like so all the wait staff at the Cocoa Beach Pier like sent in balloons and cards. So like I had all this nice stuff in the room that just cheered me up, and it was my birthday, so I had a few presents and everything. So like, I mean, I was happy to be alive, but I was just so frightened I wouldn't be able to surf, and I was worried about work too, man. I was like, oh, like my job as a lifeguard, I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to get back to that because I loved it. And so those weeks in the hospital, they were tough, man. They were tough, you know. And then even when I got out of the hospital and I was back at home, I had to do my at-home rehab, but I didn't have nurses taking care of me. I didn't have the rehab. I had to do it all for myself. I had to get up and do the work. You know, I had to get and make my food, everything. So the responsibility was on me then. You know, and again, youth was on my side, but also I was living with one of my best friends at the time, who's the chief, the lifeguard chief. So like, he was helping me out a lot as far as just like keeping me encouraged, like, oh, you're going to get back at it. And I worked with some awesome crew of lifeguards that were just so inspirational to me, that, you know, like encouraging me. You know, because fast forward 11 months, it took 11 months of me to be riding my bike, going to the gym, swimming. And in that 11 months, I put the work in. And then, in under a year, I got back to surfing, skydiving, and lifeguarding. I was feet back in the sand, man. So, like, I was so happy, you know?
It's amazing. 11 months, I mean, sounds like a long time. And what would have felt like a long time, but it's quite quick considering.
For the injuries, man, it was so quick.
So there's a lot to be said about those metal rods in broken bones. Like, obviously, horrendous, big operation. But from what I've heard, I've got a metal plate in my hand. They really can speed, actually be better in the long term and be stronger in that spot than they ever were, and can speed up recovery in a way. Yeah. So, wow, man. So growing up in Florida, like, how would you describe your childhood? Good home? Live with your mum?
Awesome, man.
So what were your days spent doing as a, say, preteen?
Oh, fishing at my aunt's house.
Yeah.
Off her dock in the canal. My dad, you know, he taught me to surf at a real young age. So, like, you know, we still have the house right by Ron John Surf Shop. So, like, go across the street to Shepherd Park. My dad would push me in on waves. And so, yeah, surfing, skating as a preteen. Had 2 golden retrievers. Still have an older sister. And, man, a really cool, like, what you could imagine as far as, like a kid growing up beachside, you know, and, like, just getting to enjoy anytime there's a hurricane that comes through and we get some decent waves. I'm like, call my buddy. Hey, how are the waves? It's waist high. Yeah, getting pumped to go surf waist high waves. But yeah, you know, and then all that 90s culture, man, it was, I'm talking about it all the time. I'm stoked to have grown up at the time I did, where I did. And I'm so lucky to have had the family that raised me, man. It's just super great mom and dad and sister, you know.
Isn't Sebastian Inlet where the waves get a bit bigger?
Yeah,
Slightly?
they get a little bit bigger, a little bit better.
Yeah, bit better.
But not by much, bro. It's still Florida.
Yeah. Still amazing, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating. I love Florida, man. I'm not hating on it either.
Nah.
But yeah, definitely.
In terms of surfing,
I'll hate on it all day long. For a lot of people, but if you can learn to love the slop, like I have, then it's like you don't mind if the waves are really small. Yeah. So it's if you can deal with that kind of small wave environment, then it can be a great place to.
It can be a great place to become 11-time world champion. Training ground, you know, like let's face it, like it's such a testament. Doesn't matter what your environment is, you can make it what you want.
So true, man.
He really did.
Big time.
I mean, he's Slater just such a hero of Cocoa Beach. Like, still, bro. Is everyone still clinging onto the Slater train?
Of course, bro. We got a bronze statue of him.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. Right when you pull into downtown Cocoa Beach, bronze statue. He's got Slater Way.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that's our claim to fame, man. Anytime I tell anyone who's a surfer where I'm from, they're Slater. I'm like, Slater or Ron Johns, man. Yeah, you know, and we got.
I mean, he's done a lot for short, bald men, you know.
Yeah.
He really has. Thank you, Kelly Slater.
Yeah.
You really helped me. You made short and bald okay, you know, for a while there. That's what I cling on to anyway, Slater. Listen, like, when you were a kid, though, like, what were some things you were naturally good at? Like, I mean, you used to talk about surfing, skating, because they were things that were just part of your natural environment. But what other things did you take to? Like, were there subjects at school that you just were naturally good at or gravitated towards?
I'd say art and history.
Rad.
Yeah, my mother's, I think it was my mother's grandmother was an artist. And yeah, I'd say art for sure. And then history, I just enjoy it. And my dad is a bit of a history buff. And then, and teaching.
Teaching?
Yeah, teaching. I mean,
you like that?
I enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy telling stories, but I also enjoy, you know, teaching as a surf coach. I'm out there, I take photos. I'm more of a surf photographer, and I review the photos for the guests. But I love to talk about like the history of surfing, or like how to understand a lineup and how lineups are now compared to how they used to be. And I love explaining things and you know, something that I know about. It's fun. It's fun for me. So I think teaching can be something that maybe I wasn't really drawn to that, or I didn't take to it until I got older. But as a kid, for sure, art. I loved art. Yeah, you know, and I still do.
Does the teaching give you a sense of purpose in the world?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
That's what keeps me in it. Yeah, you feel like you talk, even just passing on the knowledge of, you know, surf history or surf etiquette. You're actually, you know, passing on that, and it's significant because it's not through a screen, it's not through a book, it's through a person's experience. And honestly, what I enjoy more is this kind of thing, because it's me and you talking and this being able to be shared with other people, because any of the stories or the experiences I have, when they can help somebody else, man, and like that is when it's like, whoa, you know, to get a message from somebody or to have somebody come up to you and tell you that is like, I mean, that's one of the biggest rewards you can get from doing something. Yeah. So that's why I always say, yeah, surf coaching, and I love it. It's fun. It keeps me young, man. It keeps me in the water, and like I can pass that on. But to go and tell my story in depth, and to go in depth and detail in certain topics, it's like it can touch somebody and go, oh, I'm struggling from this. You know, or I'm having a hard time with this. And it's like, I can be like, well, look, bro, this is what I went through. And I can promise you that it can get better. You know, you put the work in and you surround yourself with the right people and you go down the right path, you know, and I didn't go down the right path on multiple occasions, but I somehow figured it out along the way. You know what I mean? And it left me with the experience. And when I say that, I'm usually referring to the pain medication. You know, so it's like in escaping the normal kind of, I hate to say normal American lifestyle, but yeah, kind of the normal American lifestyle. I somewhat escaped that by leaving my comfort zone and doing something like
quitting my job and going to Australia. So by telling those stories, I like to think they can encourage people to take similar steps to maybe get themselves out of a rut or to do something that could better their life. You know what I mean?
And what does that do for you inside? What does it create in you?
A huge feeling of like just that gratitude feeling of just like, whoa, like it's a cool feeling, man. You know, and it's so easy. And like, say, for example, in Indo, you get a tea for 5,000, bro. Indo Martin, just give it to some street worker, somebody who's just laboring for 50,000 for a day, and you give them that iced tea, and you get that little buzz, man. You get a little hit of it. But then to get it from somebody who's just like, whoa, like a life-changing message that they're giving that they may have got from you or were inspired by from you, it's like that gratitude just boom throughout your whole body. So it's a pretty cool feeling, man.
Yeah, because you know, for a moment you're getting out of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, we're all. I mean, I know I am. I'm so fixated. It's all about me, self. And you go and buy a tea for a guy that gets $5 a day working in the heat. See the look on his face. You know, that's just, in my opinion, that's the path to fulfillment and contentment. But it's also, for me, like, I'm a hedonist. Like, I want to go where the good feelings are. You know, and it's just like this little life hack. Like, hey, hang on a second, I can be of service to other people. And it makes me feel better than any drug I've ever had or any drink I've ever had. You know, it's a win-win. But going back to your story, like, I think the sharing of stories is more important than ever. And that's how Indigenous populations passed on tradition and lore and the evolution of their tribe was through stories, you know. And I feel like when someone shares their story, you know, in your case, for example, there might be someone else who's had a very similar accident and they could have had a parachuting accident as well. But your story is always going to be unique. And there's going to be someone out there that needs to hear how it happened specifically for you, because there's going to be some fine details that they can identify with that the other person that had the same accident just didn't quite do for them. But I also think it takes a lot of courage to share your stories. But I think it's so important, and I think like everyone has a story, and I think it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, famous, you know, desolate. I don't know. There's so much value in them. But anyway, this is common knowledge, I guess. But
I don't know, man. I don't think so. I agree with you. No, and I think a lot of it, I mean, I don't know, bro. Like, you know, you got the phones all the time, so it's like, I'll go to the sauna out here in Bali quite a bit, and like
in Canggu.
I used to go to Amo Spa.
Yeah,
and like, and bro, and now I go to one. I work over in Lombok, so I go to one over in Lombok.
Is there one there?
Yeah, there's one.
Is that where you surf coach, Lombok?
Yeah,
I didn't know. I've just for some reason thought Canggu.
Yeah, man. So I used to work here in Bali at a surf camp, and now I'm over at a better camp or a lodge.
Good for you.
Thanks, man.
Good for you.
Thanks, bro. And yeah, like, so I'm in that sauna, and what I think is so cool about it is that you're in a space with other people, and there's no devices, so you're stuck to have conversations. And man, I've heard some pretty cool stuff in saunas, like with people that are just chatting, and like all of a sudden they tell a story, and it's like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Can't take your phone in the sauna.
No, bro. So it's like,
it's gonna ruin it.
Exactly. So I like that kind of environment for that, for other reasons, of course. But like, I think that's kind of cool because that's when people can just kind of talk uninterrupted by phones. Because this is a great way, doing it this way. But just in everyday normal life, usually people have a phone in their hand, you know?
Do you think the art of conversation is being lost?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. I mean, I don't know, man.
Is that part of the appeal of getting a lot of tattoos? Because, yeah, like for those, obviously this is an audio podcast. Tyler's quite heavily tattooed.
Yeah. Oh, man, I started getting them when I was like 18. I just love them, yeah. And even Jay, like, I get people laughing because, like, Jay's tattooing, like, one of the last parts of my body that doesn't have any, and it's all, like, Ren and Stimpy, Sonic the Hedgehog, Rick and Morty, BoJack, or, like, just wild cartoon characters. And, like, yeah, man, I don't know. I love them, but, yeah, they can definitely spark up conversations, and they all have stories, too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, like, conversations, like, are you in duress when you're getting tattooed? Like you're in pain at the same time? So the talking helps with the pain?
I think, yeah. I mean, I say like it's almost like this ritual where there's the pain, but then there's the smell.
Yeah.
There's the smell, there's the sound of the needle buzzing, and then the conversation with Jay. He's so fun to talk to. So like,
He's one of the most intelligent people I know.
same,
Yeah.
same, man. And it's so fun to chat with him. But he's also as great of an artist as he is. I know, like he's still like he's not to the point where he can have the full conversation and still work. So I want to let him like concentrate and do his work. But then like I still want to have the talk with him as well. But that's part of the fun of getting tattooed, man. It's like if you have a good connection with your artist, it's just fun, bro.
Yeah.
It's just fun, you know.
I mean, what a bond you must create, though.
Big time, man.
I actually don't have any tattoos.
That's awesome.
And,
Unique.
Well, yeah, and it's something it's still not off the table. I've actually been considering asking Jabert to tattoo me. Like, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him.
Good choice.
You know, but that's why I'm really curious. I can't speak about how it feels or the process or anything.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, even my best buddy from back in Florida, he got me inspired. You know, seeing all these pinup girls and like rockabilly art. I was like, "Whoa, that's cool!" Wow. So like, you know, he got me pretty inspired to do it. But I learned it is a lot about the art, and it's mostly about the art, but it's also about the ritual of it. You know, just sitting in the chair and everything I just mentioned. That's a lot of it. And yeah, and again, like I've had, 6 artists, but Jay is the one that I definitely have more of a connection with as far as just like a human being that I just, he'll get done tattooing me and we'll talk for 2 hours, and I'm like, damn, bro, where'd the time go? So that's when you got a good buddy to have a chat with, is when you just lose track of the time,
Yeah, it sounds like you two are meant to meet each other.
Big time, man, for sure.
How good's that?
That's cool, man.
Gift.
Yeah, man.
You're a great speaker, and you mentioned that you've done some public speaking. Do you mind sharing like the context of that, what you talk about, when you do it, where you do it, why you do it?
Well, a big reason why is what I just mentioned, as far as when it touches somebody and like something that I have done or I have experienced resonates with somebody and it leaves a lasting impression, and then they give me that feedback. That's ultimately what it's for. And just to be able to let people know that you don't give up when times are tough. And, in my case, to have something this extreme, that's what's allowed me to get up and tell the story. It's not like it was just a car accident. It was something, when people hear a skydiving accident, they want to know more. And it's like, okay, I can tell you, but for me, it's not about the skydiving accident. It's about what happened afterwards.
It's just the catalyst.
Yes. I mean, it's all about what happened afterwards. And it's like, oh, okay, here we go. And yeah, so the last I gave a talk to Canggu Community School. I think that was in 2020. But the last live talk I did was in the UK, in Reading, and I spoke. It was in Cornwall.
Nice.
And I spoke with I was around 400 or 500 students, and yeah, it was all about the accident. I mean, it was similar to this talk. It was all about the skydiving accident and what happened afterwards, and being dependent on a medication, but then how I got off the medication and chose to live my life a different kind of a way. And that way has put me here, and it's given me some great opportunities, and is just so many stories. And I feel like that's what life is about. Is about love, and it's about stories and family, and I'm lucky to have a lot of that. So just sharing it,
Are these themes that have been highlighted for you post-accident? Were you thinking like that prior to the accident?
No.
So love?
I was madly in love with the girl then, but I don't know if I held that up as like one of the most important things in life. To whereas now, after many experiences and a number of women, very few that I have loved, I can sit there now and be like, well, having experienced that, I know it's one of the best emotions I've ever felt in my life. Sometimes followed by some of the worst emotions that you can ever feel. I've only been in love 3 times, but those 3 times are lasting impressions, and they make me just look at myself and how I could be a better person, how I can do better. But yeah, family as well. I mean, all those things I think are really, that's what life's all about. And just being able to share You know, I think sharing experiences, like you were saying, I know what this podcast is about, just sharing your life stories and these experiences. It's
tell us your life story. Tell us your life story. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about it, actually, more and more lately. Like, drifted away from the original concept of this podcast a little bit in terms of that's what it was really driven by. It's like, I want to hear people's life stories, you know. And I think it fundamentally it does come back to that. But you've just sort of, as you were saying that, my mind just sort of went back to that. So thanks for sparking those thoughts again. I want to ask you a bit more about your recovery from the medication. I know you said art was a factor. Did you see therapists about getting off it, or did you work some kind of recovery program? Like, did you go to group meetings, stuff like that?
I was so interesting. When I went, one of the last times I went to go visit my doctor to get my medication refilled, I was going to a new clinic in Kissimmee because the one I was going to in South Florida, or close to Miami Beach, that clinic was shut down for legal practices, and they actually have I think there was a short documentary on YouTube about it. Regardless, I went to a new clinic, and it was a smaller clinic, and it was meant to be more quote-unquote professional. And when I went in there, I saw this girl. She was, I don't know, she was probably my age, maybe a little bit younger, and nice-looking woman, but she was sitting in her chair, and she was nodding out, and she was just like, you could tell she was, you know, everybody on there was like on heroin, basically, you know?
Yeah.
Synthetic heroin. And, like, I'm just sitting there and, like, looking around, and I'm just asking myself, like, do I want to continue doing this? And I went in to go see the doctor, and I told him, I said, I want to get off these things. How can you help me? And it was crazy because I remember that I don't have a great memory, man, but I do remember this pretty damn good. Like, he stopped in his tracks and he sat down, because usually he'd just kind of walk around, just get the job done, you know, like give us our scripts, because he's getting paid per
consultation.
Yeah, per consultation.
Yeah, they try to get them in and out.
That's
yeah,
it,
yeah.
man.
It's
So
it's the healthcare system in Australia too.
Yeah. So, like, when I told him I wanted, it was like he stopped in his tracks and said, "Okay, we have to get you on this drug, Suboxone." And in my mind, I was like, "So you're going to put me on something else? Like, you know, why?" But he explained to me, like, the Suboxone, it blocks the opioid receptors in your brain, so you can't get high if you take the oxys. So, okay, well, try it. And I tried it, and I hate even saying, well, I will say relapsed, because I went back to using the pills a couple times.
Yeah.
You know, but then I ended up I looked at everything that was going on in my life, and I said, okay, well, I'm lifeguarding now. I was already back to lifeguarding when this was happening, but I was like, okay, I want to be off this completely. I need to really kind of look around at what else is going on in my life. Who am I hanging out with? And some of my lifelong best friends were mixed up in the scene that weren't injured, but they were just hooked on the drugs. And a couple of those that I'm back with being friends again, because they've cleaned up their act, but back then they weren't. So I had to get rid of all the toxic people in my life. Yeah, so that for me was the key. I didn't necessarily have to go to groups. I just went, okay, I got a buddy here who's one of my best friends in the world, and he's a mess. All right? I can't spend time with him. I'm going to look to my other buddy, who's a freaking war hero. He's a scholar. He's so smart. Doesn't surf, but whatever, man. We share the same music taste. I'm going to stay with him. So I chose another buddy who, and I love both these guys to death. They're both two of my best friends, and I know they'll both listen to this. But at that time, my other buddy, Garrett, I'm just like, I just got to surround myself with him. So I was with him, man, and it was almost like staying with him. He got a condo on the beach in Cocoa Beach before he went off to go to school in Cornell in New York. So I'm like staying with him, drawing, exercising, a huge one, man. For me, art and exercise, gym, fall in love with the gym, man. Swimming, surfing, anything healthy. And then, of course, you know, women are nice too. I met a nice girl from Orlando, and I started spending time with a girl that was like from the city, so not like a beach girl, so something different. And she was great for me too, as far as
she was okay. Healthy.
She was awesome. She was healthy.
Okay.
And you know, so it was like I just kind of set myself up with great things and different than what I was used to. So slightly out of my comfort zone, I guess you could say. But then also knowing that I was on the right path because the people I was surrounded by were doing the right thing and they were on the right path. So I'm like, if I'm near them, if I'm with them, I'm going to be going down the right path. Just don't steer off it,
Yeah.
And I just stuck with it, man. And that's really, I never did the meetings, although I think they're great for a lot of people. But yeah, that was that helped me then. And then, it was pretty extreme to leave the U.S., but it was like when I got that opportunity to go to Australia, I was like, oh man, this is probably a sign, once again, a sign of something maybe I should go and do.
So WA, Western Australia, a lifeguard?
Yep.
Which beach?
Numerous beaches. I was in. First, I went out and I went to Yellingup, Smiths,
down there.
Mila. Oh, it was a dream, bro.
So magic.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable, man. Like those beaches were beautiful. Yeah. And then the last stretch of the summer, I was in like Cottesloe mainly.
I was going to say Cottesloe.
Yeah, City Beach and like some of those beaches in Perth right there, and amazing gig, man. I loved it, and it was just like, wow. So that was kind of the reward from getting out of my comfort zone in Cocoa Beach and just going like, I'm going to do this, man. And I just
set you on a different path.
Yes, much different.
It's so interesting that you started being more selective about the company you keep.
Massive, man.
They say we're a product of our 5 closest people around us.
Yes, dude.
It's a good call. But when you have a long-term relationship with someone and you have history and it's familiar and it's safe, we tend to overlook the fact that it still could be toxic because it's familiar, and it's just easier to stay in the familiarity. That's so cool, man. I love that. After you're in WA, like in Australia, where did you go from there? Where did your travels take you?
So I ended up I went to New Zealand. Yeah, which was awesome. I got a lifeguarding gig there, and that took me around like Piha. Where else? I wasn't lifeguarding in Ragland. I did some surf coaching Mirabai Beach. So I just hopped around between lifeguarding and surf coaching. I was able to stay out there for about 8 months. Never paid rent, man. Kiwis are great. I lived in lifeguarding houses, like lifeguard clubs.
Wow.
So I was able to stay in clubs, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
man.
were the best beaches.
Oh, unreal, man. Good people.
I didn't realize it was this like international community, like brotherhood, sisterhood.
Massive. Because the reason I got that job was somebody who I met in Australia, and then I ended up going out to Cornwall for 3 months. And
in England.
Yeah.
Is that where you went from New Zealand?
Yeah, from New Zealand, I went there to escape the New Zealand winter. I went to Cornwall, and I was gonna lifeguard because I knew all the lifeguards from Australia or from England that I met in Australia were there in Cornwall. So I was like, oh, come visit us. So I went there. I lived there for a few months, surf coaching, went back to New Zealand. And then after New Zealand, straight to Indo. And then I had 7 months in China. I was surf coaching in China for 7 months.
What, really?
Yeah, man.
China?
China's a...
Tell me, I know there's surf in China. I've heard that. But what's it like? Is there actually decent waves? Can it get decent?
It can get really good, but the struggle... It's real.
In what respect?
Oh, my buddy right now would be laughing. I just left my buddy's house, and he's British, and I lived with him and his wife, who's Russian. I lived with them for quite some time out there, and yeah, man, it's just unreal. I was in Hainan, and Hainan, there's just no one speaks English at all, at all, and like I didn't like the food, and no one can understand you. You can't understand them. If you do see a person that's not Chinese, they're Russian. So like if you go to a restaurant, it's either Mandarin or Russian. And bro, for 7 months, I was just on Struggle Street. Like, what's happening? Like getting frustrated with the driving. And, I luckily...
You stuck it out for that long.
Yeah, bro. Well, I had no other choice. It was like either in China, because my visa ran out in Bali at Kima Surf where I was working. So once that visa was done, my boy hit me. He said, "Hey, I got a gig for you in China. Do you want to take it?" I was like, "Well, nowhere else to go, man."
It's like the universe wants me here now.
Yeah. So I went there. But what's funny about it, man, because I could go on about China for days, bro, is how because I'm like 7 months, bro. I got like a story for every day out of that 7 months.
Really?
Yeah, bro. It was insane.
Just
like
in relation to the cultural immersion,
everything, man.
Or
just
lack of immersion.
Just so much weirdness, but like in a way that's not bad, but a way that I just couldn't understand.
Gotcha.
What I'm getting at, though, man, is like the 7 months there pulled me out of Indonesia, where I was starting to get a little bit frustrated here with certain things, little things. But then being there, and then, you know, from that point, because over here I kind of went down that slump, which a lot of people go down with, you know, drinking a bit
in
too
Bali,
much. Yeah.
It's too easy to party.
It's too easy, man. And everything's too available. And it's just like, okay, well, I obviously needed something like a slap in the face. So when I went to China and I kind of had that experience, when I came back here after 7 months, it was just like, I'm in paradise, man, you know? And like, it kind of made me realize how lucky I was to be here, to experience a place like China or other places in the world where you just don't feel like it's your place.
Yeah. Did you feel the communism in China? Give me yeah. Do you feel it, like the control? Does it feel controlled? And
it's hard to say, man, because I just didn't understand what the hell was going on anywhere. And like the time I wasn't surf coaching, I was actually teaching. I'm not an English teacher, bro, and like I needed work because there was no surf at the time, like. And so my boy was like, he was teaching at a school. He's like, oh, bro, you just get a job teaching English. I was like, I'm not an English teacher. He's like, listen, bro, Russians teach English out here. If Russians are teaching English, you could do it. So I taught English for a few months, and like, it was just bizarre, man, bizarre. Like everything from like the students, their questions to me, and like the reaction of, I don't know, man. It's overwhelming. China was just overwhelming for me.
I can imagine.
It was gnarly, man. But here's what I'm getting at. Out of 10 years from being out of the U.S., the most memorable time I had out of that 10 years was in China. Like, as miserable as I was there, I learned the most about myself. I got the most discipline. I started waking up doing, thanks to my buddy Christian, I'm waking up doing push-ups in the morning. We're like the small expat community. They were all drinking. Bad decisions. I'm like, no, bro, stick with my boy, and we're gonna freaking, get healthy. Just get healthy and treat this like I hate saying treat it like a prison, but the day I left to leave China, we watched Shawshank Redemption, and I was like, soon, bro, you'll see me on that beach in Indo. You'll get out of here too,
dude. And then you went from China back to Bali?
I got a job in Lombok at another place. Yeah.
Did you just get off the plane in Lombok and just hug the taxi driver?
I did that. I came here first.
Okay. Oh, you would have hugged Denpasar, walking out of Denpasar. What a feeling, eh?
I felt like I was in heaven, man. Yeah. It was just like, this is heaven.
Yeah.
And plus, like, the language was so much easier for me too, because I just got done with even struggling to say any words in Mandarin.
And Bahasa Indonesian is quite an easy language to learn.
Yeah, man.
But I can't imagine Mandarin being that easy. I mean, I've looked at it. I've tried to. It's so hard.
Bro, I struggled telling cab drivers where I live.
Even after 7 months?
Shitahayan was where I lived, and I wouldn't say it right. Shitahayan.
And that's somewhere else.
Yeah, bro. It was like dog, like, I don't know, bro. It was like cape or something. It was like a whole different word the way I was saying it, because I wasn't hitting the tones right.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it was bizarre, bro. I get like my blood pressure when I go and talk about China, bro. I get tense,
Really?
It was intense. It was insane.
I could imagine. It's so unique. I don't know anyone that's actually tried to do that and try and live there. Like, I've got friends that have been there actually for skateboarding.
Oh, skating!
There's like six skaters, and they're just like the cities are epic for skateboarding.
It's huge for skating.
And I think it's changed a bit. But when they were going there, like, the security guards went kick him out. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
They didn't even know how to approach skaters. They just. So there's all these beautiful marble ledges everywhere, and it's in so many skate videos. Like, a lot of skate companies will just film a whole video there. They'll take a film crew and just spend a few months there just filming, because it's that good.
It's massive for skaters, but also I think the skaters, because my buddy I keep referring to, I lived out there with, he has a lot of skater buddies out in Shanghai.
All right.
But a lot of them end up falling to temptation of the drugs, the booze, the women.
In Shanghai?
Big time.
I mean, is that a thing?
Big time.
See, this is where my idea of it is probably wrong. I thought those things like, excessive partying or drinking or women would be restricted and controlled. And
it's massive, man. It's massive. Amongst expats, it's massive.
Okay.
As far as Chinese, I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, man. Like,
and the whole working culture. What was your insights into that?
I mean,
the heavy workers?
Not necessarily. I mean, I was working at like a tutoring place, like and that Morning Star was where I was working there. And I'd ride my bike from Sheeta High to Morning Star, and I'd do my classes, and they'd pay me cash, and I'd leave. But then working at the surf camp there in Hainan, and I can't remember the name of the spot. Regardless, where I was working there, it was easy, bro. For me, it was easy. They gave me a lot to, it was 8 kids, and out of those 8 kids, we just take them out in the water, push them in the little whitewater waves. They go to a waterfall. They give them a little skate session. But it was pretty easy, pretty chilled out work. But I mean, I think everybody's experience, depending on where they were or where they are in China, is going to be so much different.
Okay.
Especially Shanghai or Beijing. It's like you've got people that speak English. Go to Hainan, and there it's, bro, nothing, dude. Nothing.
Dude, I had a similar, one of the hardest cities I ever dealt with was Tokyo. But this was probably 20 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, and that's a pretty main, a lot of tourists go there, but I struggled there. I got lost in the train system. I felt like there was no signs in English. No one spoke English. And that would have been easy compared to China.
Easy.
Yeah.
Because, bro, the people in Japan are so sweet,
and they're
bro.
so friendly.
Nice. You see Lost in Translation, bro?
I love that.
That's one of
Bill
my favorite
Murray,
movies.
man.
He's
Bill
the best,
motherfucking
bro.
Murray.
He's the best.
He's actually, you know what? He's my favourite actor.
Is he?
It's funny. He tells a story. We touched on it with your story about, this reset that occurred indirectly. And he tells, there's a video of him speaking at a press conference talking about his acting career. And I've shared this story on the podcast before, but in short, he was trying out for, stage plays and movies and was just getting rejection. And he was one night, he was just suicidal, and he was just walking the streets of whatever city he lived in, Chicago, and ended up at the river in Chicago, middle of winter. He's like, well, I'm just going to throw myself in there and freeze to death and die, And he sat there long enough. He just sat there for hours just thinking about it, and I'm going to do this, but didn't quite build up the courage to do it. And then as he's sitting there for so long, the sun starts rising. The sun starts coming up over the river, and it's beautiful. And he's like, oh, it's really nice. I'm not going to do it today. Maybe I'll do it tonight. Tomorrow, the sun's too beautiful. Walking home, and he walks past this performing arts school, and he's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I've never seen that. And goes in, bumps into the director of the school and says, you should come and do some classes here. And he did. And it was because of that school. And then that's where it all started. He started getting, he got his training and got his first gigs and all that. Just like those stories of people just being on the brink and then just choosing to come back from it. I think that's the essence of life, in my opinion. It's like falling down, getting back up again, it's just, we're all going to face adversity, and so in extreme, yours is in a really extreme example. Some people might not ever experience something that extreme, but they'll experience maybe extreme in other ways, whether it's abuse or just mental torment and suffering. So it's beautiful, man. Sorry, talked a bit too much then.
No,
I don't like
good,
to talk too
man.
much.
No, all good. It's a good story. I didn't know that about Bill Murray, man.
Bill motherfucking Murray. I don't know why I like to add the motherfucking bit in it, but there's something about that guy, dude. Who would you say is one of your favourite? Actually, no. Here's a question for you. Who's your favourite character on Seinfeld?
Oh.
Dude.
I'd say George.
I love
George, man.
Why?
He's so cheap, bro. He's so cheap, and I joke around. I told you I did the comedy routine. And
you mentioned that. Yeah, tell me about your experience with stand-up comedy. Let's go,
bro. It was so
heavy
because I was so freaking nervous, but I practiced so much before I got there that I knew it backwards and forwards. But one joke I left out is just how expats and you rock up to Bali and everything's so cheap. But the longer you're here, the cheaper you become yourself. And you start hustling your friends out of 20 thou, or running from the parking guy who's got, you owe him 2,000. Yeah, bro, you're get the fuck out of here before you ask for the parking bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with George, he just makes me laugh, bro. There's one I've seen every episode hundreds of times, bro.
Same.
But there's an episode where he's oh, what is it, bro? He goes to the movies with Elaine and she's like, oh, I don't have any money. Can you get my ticket? And he gets the ticket and he's like, oh, do you have the change? Can you get my change? And she's like, oh, I'll just give it to you later. Yeah. And the whole movie he just looks uncomfortable because he didn't get his change back. And I just think that, oh, bro. And he takes after Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
The creator.
One of the creators of Seinfeld. What's his name?
I'm drawing a blank, bro.
Bald guy, older guy. Oh, God, he was amazing too.
Biggest Seinfeld fan. I can't remember his name, bro.
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Same.
But he had that same that George Costanza awkwardness.
George is based off his character.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know that. There's some Seinfeld history knowledge.
So when you watch his show, you see Larry David.
And
when you see him in his show in Curbed, like since I'm not great with ripping off like shows I haven't seen barely any of Curb Your Enthusiasm, but I've seen enough of them to know I'd love it. But to also know he's just like George, bro. He'll just the way he'll talk to people and just like how he's got this like. I don't know, bro. I don't know how to put my finger on it, but
just like he's neurotic and
yes, bro.
He's like this neurotic, insecure manifestation, single child syndrome.
Yeah, dude.
Mama's boy, but hates his mom. Like it's just like, he's just the best representation of like I reckon just a lot of men.
Yeah,
who I don't know. Well, maybe on that.
How he is with his dad too. Poor Ben Stiller just passed too, man. Or not Ben Stiller.
His dad.
Jerry Stiller.
Yeah, Jerry Stiller, not Ben Stiller. Yeah, I know.
And he was so good in that show, man. He was so funny.
Dude, just the rage. That built up rage he always had.
Yeah, bro.
The way he'd fly off the handle, just... Oh.
Everything, bro. I loved it, man.
I love it. With the stand-up comedy, it's got to be one of the scariest things you can do in terms of just putting yourself out there. But, if you kill, you must be on a high. And I listened to this podcast called Kill Tony, where, new comedians, sometimes it's their first time ever on stage. They got 1 minute to impress the panel of established comedians. And sometimes those established comedians are like Joe Rogan, Brian Redban, all those, Ari Sharif, amazing comedians. And they fucking roast them so hard if they're bad. There was this one girl on recently and she was bad. And Tony Hinchcliffe literally for 5 minutes just made jokes about how flat her chest was.
I saw that one.
It was like brutal. Like I was like, if that was my girlfriend, I don't know. If I was her boyfriend, I'd get on stage and bash him or something. I don't know.
You'd think that they'd know it, that they're gonna get bashed if they get up there and they don't do well.
Yeah.
But let me say that though too, bro.
Okay.
Like my experience with the comedy for me, it was great because I had all like I said, I had all these jokes that I had for freaking years that I was like, these are gonna be really funny. And they're going to be good. Like, one thing I said is like a lot of Westerners that speak Bahasa or that know how to speak Bahasa, they speak it really loud so other people know that they speak it. And like there were some that I just knew. But like, bro, I knew it was going to be decent, right? And I did it and I was like, oh, I couldn't believe the laughter, man. Like the laughter was really good. And so I was like, pumped up and I got off the stage and the guy, Chris, who started the Bali Comedy Club, he's just like, oh man, that was great. He's like, you should have stayed up there a little bit longer though to embrace it because that was one thing, man. I wish I could go back to that again and do it again that first time because the laughter was so cool to be up there and feel like you have all these people laughing at something you said felt so good because I'm sure you know this as well. Like when we make our friends laugh, it's a good feeling. But to make all these other people laugh was great. So anyway, I do it. I felt like I did great. Everyone said, great job. I'm doing it again.
Okay.
So, all right.
Addicted. Dopamine hit. Yep. Initiated.
Boom.
Need more dopamine.
Getting back up there, bro. So I write a new set. And I write the new set. And I go to Deus again, right?
Yeah.
And this time, bro, I didn't bomb. Like, it was a bigger crowd. And I started off, it was all right. I didn't start off with the huge hit that I did the first time.
More relaxed?
Oh, a little bit. The crowd wasn't really like as loud. The laughter wasn't booming.
But were you feeling more relaxed?
No,
okay.
I wasn't.
Okay.
I didn't practice as much as I did the first time because I think I was a little bit like, oh, I got this, bro. Like, not like an arrogance by any means, but just confident. Like, I got this. But then halfway through it, since I wasn't getting the laughters I did the first time, I started going, fuck, bro. And I looked down, and as I looked down, I thought to myself, I'm bro, I got to say something, bro. I got like 200 people looking at me right now. So I looked back up to the crowd, and I forgot like half of everything, bro. And I just jumped to the end.
Oh.
So my set was like 2 minutes or 2:30 or something.
Wow.
And
you
then,
blanked.
Yeah, I blanked. But then I saw then I had a few people record it for me, and I saw it, and it wasn't bad, right? I was like, I got laughs. It just wasn't like the first time.
Yeah.
But this is what I wanted to mention, bro. Chris and the Bali Comedy Club are awesome. They do a rehearsal.
Okay.
So they get every Wednesday, they get anybody that wants to get involved, they'll go and they'll rehearse. And the gnarliest thing is rehearsing in front of good comedians.
You think?
I know it, because I was more nervous when I'd read my set to, whether it be 5 or 12 comedians, because I know they're all looking at me and judging me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're all good at this trade. They all know what they're doing. Versus when you're on stage, people are loose. They're just ready to hear some jokes. But when you're talking to professionals that are really good at it, and you're like reading your set and they don't laugh, bro, I'd be sitting there. I've done like 4 rehearsals with them, and I'll just start sweating, bro. Like to where I'm like reading off my phone and I'm like wiping my forehead. I'm like, oh shit, bro, I don't think this is good. But so fun, man.
Yeah.
So fun. And what a way to get out of your comfort zone.
Fuck yeah. Like, it's such a refined craft. It's like those subtle nuances that
Yes.
you have to pay attention to that can only be developed through practice and time. And then sometimes you have to have, it just has to be like this natural skill you have as well, like a combination of all of that.
Yeah.
Some people have it or they don't, right? Because it's funny on Kill Tony, sometimes they'll have very first timers, and it's like, okay, they bombed, but that's their very first time on stage. But then sometimes they'll get people up there and they'll bomb, and then Tony will go, so how long have you been doing this? And they're like, 8 years. And then he's just like, dude, you need to do something else.
Yeah.
You don't have it. You just don't have it, but they love it. And what do you say to someone, hanging on to a dream too long?
That's it, man.
Shit. But when you said that thing about people who can speak Bahasa Indonesian in Bali and they always do it really loud, like that cut me deep, bro.
Bro,
I fucking do that. I do that. God damn it.
Bro, so many people do. And
I did it today, and I look around going, yeah.
I'll show you, bro. When this is done, I'll show you the YouTube so you can have a watch, bro. Or I'll just send you the link. You can watch something
Dude, I'll put it in your episode show notes, man.
Because you'll understand. Anybody that's been to Bali for even just a little bit of time, the jokes will be like, oh, okay.
I got to ask this question, and I don't want to sound racist, but did you make any jokes about Russians? Russians in Bali.
One of my first jokes was a Russian joke.
Russians in Bali. Because they're just such an interesting... I find them so interesting.
Oh.
I've never come across a race like them.
They're unbelievable, man.
I think that's why I'm so intrigued.
It's interesting because, I've got one of my best buddies, Christian, who I'm always talking about. His wife is Russian, and she's a great friend of mine, and she's helped me out in so many ways. And when I was in China, I met a Russian named Rustek. He was the only other surf coach. Him and I were the surf coaches of this brand called Jiwa or Jayla, whatever it was, in a little surf village called Hohai. And it was just him and I, and he spoke perfect Mandarin. And I barely knew the guy, and I stayed at his place because it was a small village, and we were doing like a early morning coaching session with the rest of the crew. And I stayed at his place, and he insisted that I sleep on his bed. He's like, no, I'll sleep on the floor. You sleep on the bed. The nicest guy, bro. I was out here when he first came to Bali, and from what I'm getting at is my experience with a lot of Russian people is because I love making fun of Americans, bro. I'll make fun of all kinds of. It's so fun, bro.
And that's why comedy's so good, because it's a context you can get away with it.
Yes,
because it's
But at the end of the day, especially the Russian community out here, there's so many of them, but different. But man, from my experiences, the ones that you meet and you start to actually get to know them, some of the freaking best people, man.
Interesting.
But I think it's a little bit tough to break through the shell maybe initially,
Yeah, and I'm not actually alluding to that they do life good or bad. I just am intrigued by their cultural differences. They're just vastly different. It's just those little details that are so different to home. I think it can be perceived as this arrogance, but I don't know if it's arrogance. I think it's just they like to keep it within their friendship circle or the people that they know, but because they don't say hello to us in the street,
Right.
like,
or their style's different.
or their style's different, and we judge, don't we? We judge. I mean, and some of those Russian dudes are just man's men, like big, burly men. They're scary as hell sometimes, and when one of them grunts at you, you're like, oh, they're so scary. But nah, like, just an observation.
That's it, man. I did have a Russian girl one time at a party, and I was washing the dishes because I was washing the dishes.
Perfect guest.
Yeah, man. It was the villa I was living in, and my friend was hosting the party. Anyway, she had a group of people over, and one of them is a Russian girl, and I think she's like I don't know if she was influenced or whatever she is, but she saw me washing the dishes, and I was washing the dishes because I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just like kind of I was just like do my own thing, but she's just like, where I come from, the women wash dishes or something like that. I was just, so that's
cultural difference.
Interesting, but that's just I don't know.
I just think so much of everything in our life, in our world, just comes down to tolerance, and acceptance. Like, that's how they do life. It doesn't mean we have to. And we hold people, in my opinion, by standards that we create in our minds and based on our culture. And it's just like, it's not working. Just let people just do you, just like keep your side of the street clean and let other people live their life how they want to live. I don't know.
Well, it's fun too, like considering there are, so many diverse nationalities out here. That's what makes it so fun too and interesting when you can meet all. You're like, where are you from, bro? Like, what?
Is it still fun for you though, or do you get jaded with it?
I don't. I've got like 4 friends here, dude. I don't really have a lot of.
You keep it tight.
I don't have that many people I hang out with. I've got like small, random few people.
Yeah.
Which I tell myself I need to network more and chat with more people. But yeah, I see enough in the spas, man, in the saunas, and that's a nice kick,
Sauna and ice bath?
Yes, bro.
Big part of your life?
Yeah, and Lombok for sure, because it's...
What does it do for you?
I say the ice bath makes me almost feel like I've got like a hot... The longer I stay in there, the more I feel like I've got like a natural high, like a real buzz. And then I love stretching in the sauna, man. Like... the older I get, and the more my legs kind of bother me. So I feel like it is my job to every day make sure I'm stretching. So the sauna is just a great way for my body. Mm-hmm. The ice bath, both of them great for the body and the mind. You know?
They are. They really are,
them, man.
Yeah, I've got to admit, sauna and ice bath are a big part of my story too. But in Australia where I live, there's not places where you can go do sauna and ice bath. Like, it's getting more popular, but there's no places like, you mentioned Ammo and other places. But I've started doing it again at home with I'll have a really hot bath and then hop in a cold shower because it's been winter. And I noticed that that combination of that is hugely reduces anxiety. So if I'm anxious about something, there's something I'm worried about or something I've got to deal with, and I go and do that, and it's anxiety relieving. I know there's a science to it, and someone much smarter than me could explain why that happens, but it does, man. It balances the hormones out. It really does. So I'm so glad people are onto it.
Well, even the ice with the ice bath, man. I tell myself too, like, bro, this is gonna suck, and it's that whole getting out of the comfort zone.
There you go again
for 1 minute, and it's like, okay, cool.
Do you get achy joints from your injuries, or you're okay?
So far, man, I do pretty well. I stretch so much, and I
eat well.
Eat well, stretch, and surf all the time. So I just, so far, man, pretty good. Every now and then I get the nagging knee, but overall, man,
so
good, dude.
You are doing good, man, and you're surfing you surf.
Yeah,
you surf coach, you surf. You got those things in your life still. What a gift, man. Well, listen, it's been epic. How you feeling?
Feel great, bro. I really got to pee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel
We'll
great.
start. We'll wrap it up then.
Yeah, brother.
But listen, I ask all guests to come to the podcast with a cause they want to support or advocate on here. But I didn't really give you any warning for that, so I'm going to just use this opportunity, this segment, to advocate for a cause in Bali that I'm really passionate about. It's called Sungai Watch. It's been created by young brothers, Gary and Sam Benchengib. They have been on the podcast. They are cleaning up Bali rivers. They're stopping trash from going they're getting trash from rivers and stopping them from going into the oceans. But what they're doing is they then get that trash and they have a processing plant and they're turning that trash into treasure. They're repurposing it. They're turning it into a commodity. They're making paneling for housing from plastic bottles. They audit the trash. They audit the companies that are creating the most trash. It's one of the most beautiful initiatives ever. So get onto sungaiwatch.com, see if you can donate some money or volunteer at one of their river barriers and help clean up the rivers of Bali. All right, man. Anything else you want to finish on?
Thanks, bro. It was super fun.
Don't want to tell us a joke?
Put me on the spot here, bro. I don't think I have any, dude.
No improv? No, just kidding. Thanks.
Thank you, Shannon. That was fun, bro.
Appreciate you, brother. You.